For millennia, its name has been whispered with a sense of dread, a biblical portent of famine and devastation. The desert locust, a creature that, when gathered in its billions, forms a relentless, devouring cloud that can strip a landscape bare in mere hours. For farmers, a swarm on the horizon has meant certain ruin, a battle against an overwhelming force of nature. Yet, here, in the heart of this ancient conflict between humanity and insect, a remarkable transformation is taking place. We are beginning to see this age-old adversary not as a curse, but as an opportunity. This is not a story of conventional farming. You cannot raise locusts in pens or contained environments with any real efficiency. Their power and their value lies in their phenomenal, untamable numbers. The harvest, therefore, is an interception. It is a response to the great swarms that form under specific climatic conditions, a chance to gather a resource that has, until now, only ever been a force of destruction. We are learning to turn the tide, to meet the plague on our own terms, and gather its bounty before it can claim ours. So, join me as we embark on a journey that follows this creature from a wild, feared pest to a cornerstone of a new sustainable economy. We will travel from the vast plains of Africa and Asia, where communities are mobilizing against the swarms, to the processing mills where this unlikely harvest is transformed. We will explore how a symbol of agricultural disaster is becoming a high-protein, eco-friendly feed, rewriting its story from plague to provision. This is the dawn of the locust harvesting revolution. The battle against the swarm is not won in the heat of the day. As dusk settles across the savanna, the locusts, having spent the day feeding and flying, begin to settle. The cool night air makes them sluggish, almost dormant. They cluster in their millions on bushes and trees, a vast living blanket covering the vegetation. This is the moment of opportunity for the harvesters. Under the cloak of darkness, entire communities mobilize, moving quietly through the bush. They come armed not with poisons but with simple, effective tools, sacks, nets, and a deep understanding of the creature they hunt. It is a race against the dawn, for with the first rays of sun, the swarm will warm its wings and once again take to the sky. The methods are born of ingenuity and necessity. In many parts of Pakistan and Kenya, community-led projects have turned this nightly gathering into a coordinated effort. Families work together, some shaking the branches of trees, causing the dormant insects to rain down, while others swiftly gather them into large jute sacks. The air is filled with the soft rustle of millions of wings and the quiet murmur of the collectors. It is an extraordinary scene. A pest that would have brought ruin by day is, by night, becoming a source of immediate income. For many small-scale farmers who have lost their crops, this is a chance to recoup their losses, turning a natural disaster into a financial lifeline, one sack of locusts at a time. But human hands, however numerous, can only do so much. And so, innovation is beginning to augment this ancient practice. In some areas, mechanical suction devices are being deployed. These machines, like oversized vacuum cleaners, can draw in vast quantities of locusts far more quickly than by hand alone. They represent a crucial step towards scaling up the harvest, a bridge between traditional knowledge and modern technology. Whether by a simple net or a powerful machine, the principle remains the same. Intercept the swarm, capture the protein, and transform a devastating plague into a paying proposition for the very people who stand to lose the most. The harvest is only the beginning of the transformation. Once collected, the great mounds of locusts must be processed quickly. The first and most vital step is drying. Spread out on large tarps under the relentless sun, the insects are left for several days. The heat desiccates them, removing all the moisture, which not only preserves them for storage and transport, but also concentrates their rich nutritional content. This simple, solar-powered method is crucial, ensuring the harvest doesn't spoil and can be aggregated from many small collectors into a commercially viable quantity. The landscape becomes dotted with these drying sites, a testament to a new kind of agriculture taking root. A critical consideration throughout this process is purity. Locust swarms are often targeted with chemical pesticides in large-scale control efforts. It is absolutely essential that the harvested locusts come from unsprayed areas. The organizations pioneering this work spend a great deal of effort tracking the swarms and coordinating with control authorities to identify safe zones for harvesting. This ensures the final product is clean, natural, and free from any contaminants. Any locusts collected from sprayed areas are carefully disposed of, safeguarding the integrity of the entire supply chain and building trust in this nascent industry. The goal is not just to collect locusts, but to produce a high-quality, safe food source. Once thoroughly dried, the locusts are ready for the final stage of their metamorphosis, milling. They are ground into a fine, dry powder, not dissimilar in texture to flour. This is locust meal, and its properties are remarkable. Analysis reveals it is incredibly rich in protein, often exceeding 60% of its total weight, a concentration that rivals or even surpasses that of traditional protein sources like soy or fish meal. It is also packed with essential amino acids, fats, and minerals. What was once a flying plague, a symbol of crop failure, has now been converted into a dense, stable, and highly nutritious powder, ready to enter the world of modern animal feed. The fine, protein-rich powder milled from the desert locust is not destined for the human plate, not yet at least. Its primary destination is the feed trough. Here, in the world of animal agriculture, it is proving to be a revolutionary ingredient. For poultry farmers, locust meal can be mixed into chicken feed, providing a powerful boost of protein that promotes faster growth and better health in their flocks. The chickens, in their own instinctual way, seem to recognize its value. It is, after all, a natural part of their ancestors' diet. The introduction of this novel ingredient is closing an ancient ecological loop. The potential is perhaps even greater in the realm of aquaculture. The farming of fish is one of the fastest-growing food sectors in the world, but it has a sustainability problem. It relies heavily on fish meal, a product made from wild-caught ocean fish, which puts enormous pressure on marine ecosystems. Locust meal presents a stunningly effective alternative. It offers a comparable, and in some cases superior, nutritional profile without plundering our oceans. Tilapia and catfish farms that substitute locust meal for fish meal are not only lowering their environmental footprint, but also tapping into a more resilient supply chain, one that is not dependent on the volatile fortunes of the sea. This shift carries profound economic advantages. The price of soy and fish meal, the traditional stalwarts of animal feed, is subject to global market fluctuations, transportation costs, and the environmental toll of their production. Locust meal, harvested locally, offers a more stable and often cheaper alternative, especially for farmers in regions affected by the swarms. It is the very definition of a circular economy. A pest that destroys crops and livelihoods is captured and converted into a product that enhances a different agricultural sector, reducing its costs and improving its sustainability. The locust, the destroyer of wealth, is becoming its creator. The economic impact of locust harvesting ripples outwards, starting with the individuals who need it most. For a pastoralist who has lost grazing land, or a farmer whose crops have been devoured, the swarm is no longer a total loss. The opportunity to harvest the insects provides a vital, immediate stream of income. It is cash in hand for a night's work, a financial buffer against disaster. This direct economic empowerment is one of the most compelling aspects of the entire enterprise. It turns victims of a climate-driven event into active participants in its solution, building economic resilience within the very communities on the front lines of climate change. Beyond the individual, the environmental benefits are profound. The default response to a locust swarm has long been the widespread aerial or ground spraying of chemical pesticides. While effective in killing the locusts, these chemicals can have devastating, indiscriminate consequences. They can harm other beneficial insects, contaminate water sources, and pose risks to livestock and human health. Every ton of locusts harvested by hand or by mechanical suction is a ton that doesn't need to be sprayed with poison. It is a targeted, surgical removal of the pest, leaving the surrounding ecosystem completely unharmed. This approach represents a monumental shift from chemical warfare to ecological balance. Furthermore, the production of locust meal is a model of resource efficiency when compared to its competitors. Consider the production of soy meal. It requires vast tracts of land, often cleared from forests, immense quantities of fresh water for irrigation, and a significant input of fertilizers and fuel for machinery. Now consider locust meal. It requires zero arable land, zero irrigation, and zero fertilizers. Its primary energy input is the sun for drying. The locusts themselves have already done the work of converting wild vegetation into dense protein. We are simply harvesting the surplus of a natural cycle, creating a high-value product with a fraction of the environmental footprint. Despite its immense promise, the path to scaling up locust harvesting is not without its obstacles. The very nature of the harvest, relying on manual nocturnal labor, presents a significant challenge to scalability. While community mobilization is powerful, there is a physical limit to how much a group of people can collect in a single night. The swarms themselves can be colossal, spanning many square kilometers. Hand harvesting, even at its most efficient, can only ever capture a tiny fraction of the total biomass. To make a truly significant dent in the swarm populations and to create a reliable, industrial-scale supply of locust meal, mechanization is not just an option, it is a necessity. Another significant hurdle lies in the marketplace itself. For harvesters to feel secure, they need a guaranteed buyer and a fair, predictable price. This requires the establishment of robust market mechanisms, collection points, transparent weighing and payment systems, and storage facilities. Without this infrastructure, the industry remains precarious, dependent on the goodwill of a few pioneering companies or NGOs. Farmers will only invest their time and effort if they are confident that their harvest will not go to waste. Building this market confidence is a crucial step in transitioning from a series of pilot projects to a self-sustaining commercial industry. Finally, the revolution faces the slow, complex machinery of regulation. Because this is a novel industry, it often falls into a gray area of official policy. Is it pest control? Is it a food product? Is it waste management? Governments need to develop clear guidelines and supportive policies that recognize locust harvesting as a legitimate and beneficial activity. This includes everything from food safety standards for the meal to streamlining permits for processing facilities. Navigating these regulatory landscapes, which differ from country to country, is a slow and arduous process that can hinder investment and slow the incredible potential of this burgeoning green economy. We began with a creature synonymous with destruction, a force of nature that has plagued humanity for all of recorded history. Yet, as we have seen, within this ancient threat lies an extraordinary opportunity. The story of the locust is being rewritten. By harnessing ingenuity, community spirit, and a deeper understanding of ecology, we are learning to transform this climate-driven disaster into a powerful solution. The harvest intercepts the swarm, turning a devastating loss of crops into a sustainable high-protein resource that can strengthen rather than weaken our food systems. The future of this revolution is bright, but it requires vision and investment. The potential for growth is immense, but it hinges on our ability to move beyond the limitations of today. Greater mechanization is needed to scale the harvest to meet the true size of the challenge, and supportive government policies are essential to create the stable markets that will underpin a thriving, legitimate industry. With these elements in place, we can create a system that not only mitigates the damage of locust plagues, but also generates economic value and environmental benefits in the process. This journey from plague to protein teaches us a profound lesson for our warming world. It shows us that even in the face of what seem to be insurmountable climate-driven challenges, there can be hidden potential. It forces us to look beyond the conventional, to find the promise held within the problem itself. The locust, for so long a harbinger of despair, is now becoming a symbol of resilience, proving that with innovation and a change in perspective, even the most feared of plagues can hold a seed of hope for a more sustainable future.